Welcome, acolytes. As you can see, my knowledge thirsty ghouls, I am making again a reaction to Rev, says Tisu. Now, why am I making? Because I find this freaking outrageous localizer thing just so funny. It's so funny, and it's especially funny if you hear how Rev just sounds like he's like, yeah, it's Monday again, boys. It's Monday, so it's just like the attitude to it. So yeah, this is just But by the way, if you like my content, leave a like, subscribe, blah, 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 you know what I mean. Sub and press the like button. They should actually glow up. I don't know if they do that or not. I'm not sure about it, but irrelevant. Good enough. So let's hear Rev out. And by the way, I didn't see it, but it's Rev, of course.
What's up, guys? Rev here. So another day and another round of localizer-related drama. Who could have predicted this one? But yes,
Who could have predicted this one? Who? Who, I ask you? Acolytes. What demon would actually predict this? Please tell me, because I don't know. Yeah, you all know that it's just a typical drama of some people that just think they are worth more than they actually are, and yeah.
Situation keeps evolving every single day, and today we're going to look at some very crucial updates regarding this ongoing situation in ways that it's evolved, perhaps in ways that people did not see coming. So initially, when Asmongold reacted to my video, for example, I thought that was a great opportunity for this conversation to evolve because he has a very big platform and provided a big spotlight to this localizer situation, and also his audience isn't as immersed in anime and manga as my audience, for example.
Yeah, and I think this was a good thing because, I mean, he's way bigger than you. And if someone way bigger that actually gives a fuck who he shows the things to, and actually wants to see the things, and actually also gives the freaking content creator also their due diligence, and actually says, yeah, he did this. Good guy, by the way. It's fine. This is the thing you should do. And yeah, I think it was a good thing.
And it's a really good test to see some people in particular who don't consume anime or manga at all, seeing the actions of these localizers and being shocked that this has been so normalized in the industry. Now, this has evolved once again, and in a way that I had not initially predicted. It seems like Japanese users are starting to catch on to this situation because a lot of Japanese users are not exactly familiar with how the English localizations have been butchered over the past couple of decades, and they're shocked. And this was pointed out by Rayforce. This is someone who's helped a lot and given a Japanese perspective on a lot of issues involving localizations, translations, anime and manga related situations, and they're definitely very helpful. And they made this tweet saying, usually Japanese YouTubers don't mention how terrible Japanese to English localizations are, but this time around something seems to be different. I found one...
Okay, now just stay with me. Imagine people that don't give a shit about your actual thing suddenly start to actually taking care of it and watch it. You did something, you effed up really, really hard if that happens. And I mean really, really hard.
One Japanese YouTuber who explains this situation. You can see screenshots of Asmongold's reaction here. So here's the thumbnail of the video. You can see this is a Japanese channel, and it is a very interesting thing to see, seeing these conversations replicated onto a Japanese YouTube channel. And they go through and they point out some of the examples that we've been talking about on this channel, like the Funimation dub of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and once again we can play that funny reaction of Asmongold seeing this all happen, and also the Japanese YouTuber responsible for this video. Basically saying, I wanted to wear something different so people wouldn't look at me.
Yeah.
And in the localization it says, oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves.
Like, that's so outrageous. I don't even believe. Is this true? No, wait, that's great. Or what? No, I don't believe. I want to see it. I want to fucking see it. What's the title? Yeah, fact check right now. Yeah, I want to see it right now.
What are you wearing that for? Oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves. So I changed clothes.
通勤通学中の皆様おはようございます。プクタの世界 G ニュースの時間です。
I don't understand him, so there's that, but yeah.
Based goldfish. I don't know what they said, but I co-sign all of it. Let's go goldfish YouTube.
I don't know what they said, but I co-sign all of it. Okay. Okay, this is it. Okay. I'm sorry about it, but this is something that got me off guard. This is beautiful.
Okay. But in all seriousness, their reaction is very similar to people like me and Asmongold responding to this localization situation. You even see Katrina here catching some strays on Japanese YouTube. It's absolutely wild. Now, I think their message aligns with those like me, but the comment section really reinforces how a lot of people on the Japanese side of things are not aware of these awful English localizations. And let's just read a few of the top comments from this video. And of course, it's translated through Google Translate, so they're not 100% perfect, but the message seems very, very clear. So this comment says, if you make a translation that clearly deviates greatly from the original content, you can't sue for damaging the value of the work. It's really infuriating that Japan's great anime works are being used for activist claims. This user said, can't we punish activists who pose as translators? Rather, I think it's unavoidable to make them AI because there are people like this. Another comment says, I'm glad you took up this AI translation because I was really interested in it. Katrina has been a problematic figure for a long time.
And by the way, just because one of the comments was, I had to think about it for a bit. The only real way how you can actually punish a person like that is if you just start ignoring them and not giving them effing jobs. If they lose their job, they won't do it again. It's that simple. And never, and just because she is a figure that actually presents herself in the freaking open world, if a company sees this, they should say, no, fuck off.
Even Japanese users are aware of this localizer. It's too funny. But here's another comment saying, really? Political correctness often means making your own point with other people's works, but I hate it. If you can't respect the original, don't get involved. Translation depends on the translator's love for the original work. I want the translation to be translated by a translator who respects and loves the work. Now, this is one of the many English comments. This was not true.
Yeah, and by the way, I agree with this guy, but it's wishful thinking that you actually find someone who actually knows always the work, but you really should have, at a bare minimum, have someone who actually just gives 100%, that actually reads into it, tries to actually get in the character, and actually tries to do their best to just reflect the thing that the character actually represents, and not just insert some bullshit. Yeah, that's just what I hope for. Plus this, what he said, except for let's just stay realistic. Yeah, you know.
Translate. This was a original English comment saying, thank you for covering this. We've been complaining about localizers doing this for years, and for years it fell on deaf ears. It's good to see this finally making waves. And of course, I would thank Rayforce for spreading the message about the Japanese side of YouTube discovering this localization situation, and they would reply saying you did a great job. Due to your job, I could spread this terrible situation, but be careful. This Japanese VTuber is not so famous. Put it differently, temperature towards bad translation is greatly different between Japan and English. As of now, this is a small topic, sadly. So what they're saying is this is a very small set of topics for Japanese YouTube. This is not something they're very aware of. It is a growing thing. And I see this as a very powerful first step towards getting more recognition, because after all, this is where the content is coming from. This is works of Japan, anime and manga, that are being butchered in these English localizations.
Yes.
And a lot of the people in Japan are completely unaware that this is happening. And of course, it would offend them to see people like Katrina coming out here and making these awful localizations and vandalizing the work of another culture they seem to have no respect for. But moving...
Yeah, because it is insulting. It is totally insulting. And this comes from a person that's actually crying about that stuff. And oh my god, how freaking poor am I? And I suffer so much. And then this person does this. Honestly, just think about it for a second. This... Just... No. No.
Moving on, part of the reason, as I've been saying in my previous videos, that this localization drama keeps getting more and more out of control is because localizers and their supporters can't stop tweeting. They can't stop tweeting even if their life depended on it, and they're making the situation worse and worse. And here's an example of that. Jamie Marchi. We're on Jamie Marchi watch every single day. She has something new to present as a way to make herself look completely unhinged on social media. So this user said, Asmongold owned you, where she replies by basically saying she doesn't know who Asmongold is. She is literally big leaguing Asmongold. That's a bold strategy. Let's see if it works out for her. But another user would point out some of the reactions from his channel and basically pointing out that entire Q&A session where she went after a group of her fans, really just fans in general of anime who have a problem with mistranslations, calling them Nazis, virgins, incels, all of these things. And she would reply to that by saying, one word. You are freaking out about one word. Don't pretend you care about the context or anything else. It's one word. And of course that...
Oh, yeah, this was a thing. But just shut up. Shut up. This is pure reflection.
One word she's trying to mischaracterize this entire situation as is the use of patriarchy and this infamous Dragon-Maid localization by Funimation. And of course, Jamie Marchi is the person who provided this localization and even delivered the lines as Lukla. And in case you need a reminder, here's the line. It says, oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves, so I changed clothes. Now, she has continued to make this more and more of a difficult situation for herself. We reviewed this in previous videos. Initially, she tried to deny that she was doing or was responsible for this localization, but eventually she just outright admitted that she wrote the line. And then to somehow try to deflect blame, she said that she doesn't speak Japanese and said that the majority of script adapters or English dubs don't speak Japanese either, which is not the own she thinks it is. It actually can.
Yeah. Now, folks, for us logical thinking people, what does this say? I'm not gonna even say anything because I am pretty sure that everyone who actually has half a functioning brain that knows that this this isn't an own. This is you shot yourself in the foot 5 times.
Confirms what a lot of people are complaining about, that these people don't speak Japanese and have no respect or understanding of the source material. But anyway, she has continued. If you go to her Twitter account at any given moment, there is a very high chance that she is replying to someone within the past minute. She is responding to everyone, and by everyone, I mean mostly small accounts because she blocks any sort of a large account that she interacts with. But today we're going to see a situation where she picked the wrong person to mess with. So a lot of people have been criticizing the Dragon-Maid dub, and she's been responding. Here's another situation where she says, how does Lukla feel when she said the line? Does she like covering up? Is she happy about that? Irritated by it? Doesn't care? And this user responds saying, okay, so why didn't you say I just wanted to wear something different, but you went straight to patriarchy though? We're not buying it. You're trying to justify tampering with people's work from a different culture and part of the world. You thought it was a joke, but joke's on you. Where Jamie would reply, I had a lot of flaps to fill, and she means mouth flaps, like the actual movement of the character. And pesky patriarchal society filled up those flaps. I know you don't like the word, you've made that abundantly clear. Your line would have changed the context. She disapproved of the people telling her to change. It's indicated in the Japanese. Where this individual, Lunar Archivist, would provide a very thoughtful response to Jamie's latest reply. And now this is someone who is a member of the industry. I've been following them personally for at least a year or two now. There's someone who calls out a lot of bad translations and localizations, and they had this to say. So they said, based on the subtitles, there is no indication Lukoa disapproves of those people. That's just you filtering her words through your feminist lens. She took note of feedback and adapted her dress code accordingly. Also, here's me filling the flaps with a more accurate translation. So you have the original translation here, the English Funimation dub with the patriarchy line, and here Lunar provides an alternative translation on top of that. So Taru asks the question, what's with the new outfit? And Lukoa responds saying, I keep getting comments for showing so much skin, so I tried dressing more modestly. Any thoughts? And then Toru would reply saying, you might have better luck by changing your body shape. And the number of syllables in this alternative translation matches syllable for syllable from the Funimation dub. It is the exact same number. And on top of that, it follows the same cadence. It is a question being asked by Toru, and then she answers that question. And as pointed out here with Toru's reply, Lukoa is a god who can take any form she wants. She takes the form of this busty dragon because that's what she wanted to do. She is aloof to human standards and human expectations. That's why she's walking around with her giant anime titties flopping around. It's not anything to do with the patriarchy and those standards. It's human standards. She doesn't understand human decency. But here we have an alternative translation that makes a lot of sense, and it fits the same number of syllables. Clearly, Jamie must acknowledge that. Of course she doesn't.
Yeah, I just want to... No, of course she doesn't. Why should she? She then had to... If she does that, she just has to... After that, she actually has to accept that she makes mistakes. And that's just not their thing. They don't give a fuck about it. They just want to spell their freaking insulting thoughts and get away with it without any consequences.
So she replies by saying, stilted, try again, basically saying it's forced and choppy and doesn't match. But then Lunar would reply saying, if so, and that's subjective on your part, only because I matched the exact amount of syllables in your original dub script, let me know how much wiggle room I have with the mouth flaps, and I'll gladly give it another shot. Where Jamie replies saying, every syllable is not the same. Take, I don't know what that is. For example, I also don't know why she'd ask Toru a question that would just be ignored. That doesn't make any sense. Where Lunar would ratio them into the shadow realm with this reply saying, I think Toru's response makes perfect sense in this situation, but that can easily be tweaked since she's facing away from the camera. Here's 3 other alternatives for you off the top of my head. They can't all be more stilted than pesky patriarchal norms. So here's 3 more alternative versions. The first one saying, based on the comments I've been getting, I tried dressing a little less risque. What do you think? The next one, people kept saying that I was overexposed, so I tried covering up a bit. How's my new look? Here's the third one. People said I was dressing too sexily, so I tried dialing things down a notch. Do you like it? And Jamie would reply to that. The 3 more alternatives were now up to 4 of them, saying, disagree. The question isn't being answered. There's so much more nuance I could get into, but you don't want to understand. I'm not sure what you want, to be honest. You think Crunchy's gonna put your line in there instead? Send them your lines then. And Lunar replies saying, any thoughts being followed by I think isn't an answer? Personally, I think that you're so married to the patriarchy line because you believe it's clever somehow. And the only thing I want is accurate translations. Don't insert stuff that wasn't in the original. You can see she's playing on the wrong turf, okay? She picked a battle that she clearly was not ready for. I mean, you can see like 3 likes on her tweet. 257 on Lunar's, and their accounts with virtually the same size, by the way. But Jamie would reply to that saying, it is accurate. The context is the same. Ugh. Where Lunar would reply saying, where in the original text was pesky patriarchal societal demands mentioned. At best, Lukua was guilty of violating public decency laws, like with the beach episode. Why not say, oh, those outdated public decency laws were getting on my nerves, if you want to go that route. And that is like the most generous way of dealing with the situation. You're basically playing on her court, and she's still wrong. Like if you're giving her some sort of a standard in the dialogue, you can use other ways of expressing it. That makes more sense for the character. I mean, there's a beach episode with Lukua, and she's walking around with the tiniest thread of coverage over her body, and it's clearly done to show that she's just completely aloof to how humans are supposed to behave and be decent. And then Jamie replies saying, do you understand the difference between context and text? Yes, do you? Patriarchy wasn't mentioned in the original. You're extrapolating that based on your own ideological or personal biases and making a gender-based value judgment where none was originally. Public decency laws would be ambiguous when assigning blame, at least. Where Jamie would reply saying, patriarchy is the text. That was different, as was most of the text. The context is the same. Where Lunar replies saying, patriarchy isn't a neutral term. Thanks to third wave and modern mainstream feminism, it's acquired a distinctly negative connotation, and the way it's being used here drags all that ideological baggage in with it. Public decency lacks any gendered value judgments. Where, again, she would have a spurg out in the replies where eventually she would call Lunar and other people ragey little twerps, where Lunar says, ragey little twerp is rich coming from someone who said, I have a vagina and I'm gonna make it everyone's problem in public while calling all of her detractors Nazis. Where Jamie says, hyperbole much? What did I say again? Lunar replies saying, your version, I have a vagina, deal with it. My version, I have a vagina and I'm gonna make it everyone's problem. I'm not sure why you're annoyed. I thought you were a big fan of context being the same. Oh. And then Jamie replies saying, it sounds like you need to deal with the fact that I have a vagina. Where Lunar would drop this bomb, saying, considering that vagina and see you next Tuesday are synonyms, trust me when I say that dealing with you requires crowdsourcing. Yeah, well done. Absolute destruction. And she had nothing to say after this one. He literally dropped.
They fought. But at one point, Lunar thought, I'm not here to fight, I'm here to destroy.
Up the mic on her, and she finally had to pick other people to argue with because she got owned that badly. Now, because I don't want to extend this video, I know it's already long, so basically I will link this thread. This is a good explanation of why the patriarchy lines don't make sense for Lukua's character based on a lot of the actions of that particular episode and the manga chapter it's based on, and it's definitely a good read. I'll provide a link to that in the description. Also, feel free to check out Lunar's account, consider giving a follow. And yeah, that's really it for today. That's the localization drama watch for the day.
Okay, F it. This was... Damn. Okay, Ref. Thank you, and Acolytes, I hope you had fun, because this is... Oh, this is absurd. This is so beautifully absurd. Nice. Nice. Oh, damn.